Hello, welcome to the 40k Spice Center. I'm your host, Rob. And I'm joined by Mr. Tom Layton, my co-host on the Spice Center. Just me and Tom now,
Yeah,
Sag music all the time. And
for now. I'm having to move my thing around already because I noticed you've got a slick new overlay, and yeah, I mean, I just need to get used to this. There we go. And he's got all my hair in my back. Perfect. There we go.
you look great.
Make sure I've got all the sportsman trips. I'm falling over now. Never mind. That's fine. I always look great. How
It's
are
a
you
good
doing?
start to the show. I'm good, thanks very much. Excited to be joined by the Twitch chat. What's going on? Ruler Cool Wargaming, Hams Fan, Battle Chode, Wolf Priest, Awoo, Dydrin, Nurgle Matthew, what's happening? Ruler Cool Wargaming, the beautiful people are here, Rob. We are the chat. That's correct. You are the cool
I
and
mean, we're
beautiful.
we're not now that we don't have Nikos here. We have to take us away from the paywall, and so we have to give it away for free because we're just not hot enough.
Without
Yeah,
Nick, we're
to
yeah,
make
you're
it
right.
work.
Without Nick, we're not hot enough really
Yeah,
for the whole community.
yeah.
So me and Tom are just going to be quickly chatting about the news. We should get a Nikos cut out. That would obviously be great. We're going to be talking about the news, and Tom's at an event this weekend, so I'm quite excited just to hear about his list and his
Mm.
plans for it this weekend. The 40k Spy Center might be being re-envisioned over the next few weeks, so you guys are going to get to
Mm.
hear about that at a later date. But currently, we're working on that in the background, specifically because I think me and Tom think that we can do other stuff quite well. So we'll talk about
Yeah,
that more in the
100%.
future.
Yeah.
But before we do that, and
Yeah.
before we talk about anything else, Tom, how have you been past week? What have you been up to?
The carpal tunnel's a bit bad, mate, but apart from that, we've been good. We've been good. We're getting to the last couple of weeks of my summer holiday. So I've been painting for the last 2 weeks this Eldar army. I decided that I was going to do 5 levels of highlighting on every single one of my models. That was fucking stupid.
Oh,
I should never have decided to do that. So we're still working our way through it now. We're still working our way through it, but we're almost there. I need to get this finished tonight, actually, because I'm going to the airport tomorrow to pick up Dick van der Hoosen and his Necron army for the event we're at this weekend. So that should be a lot of fun. We're going to come down to TSN tomorrow, play a practice game. That should be a lot of fun. But yeah, it's been all right. It's a bit busy just because of all this painting that I've been doing.
it's a
Really.
lot, right?
How about you? You been doing
It's
all
a
right?
lot. Yeah, no, I'm great. Thanks very
Mm,
much for asking.
yeah.
It's been again a busy week. Obviously, we've got the LGT coverage coming up in 3 weeks time. So a lot of planning
Mhm.
for me is going into that. So I've just tried to keep my head down today. I haven't really been like paying attention to like my phone or any of that sort of jazz. You know when you're just like, cool, today's just doing the job day. Today isn't doing. So I've been doing
Mhm.
that. Looking forward to the LGT coverage. If I'm 100% honest, I think there's some really
Yeah,
I
man.
think
Me
there's some
too.
really fun stuff that we could try and do on the 40k side, because obviously you and Nick are going to be
Mm,
doing all, and Scribs are going to be doing the 40k coverage while I do the Age of Sigmar stuff. So I just want to make sure I prep you guys and I give you guys as many tools to make as much of a fun show for the
mm,
audience as possible. So I've been working on that. So that's
mm.
been really fun. As to actual 40k, I haven't played a game or been able to do any yet, but we do have a 40k event next Saturday here at the arena. So not this Saturday, next
Mhm.
Saturday, a week on Saturday. And looking forward to just having all the guys over to play some 40k at that
Mhm.
time. So looking forward to that. That's my way of absorbing it in the minute. Mainly because I want to play. I said this on the show yesterday or maybe the day before. I'm like really frustrated at the minute because I would like to play with my 40k orcs, but I really
Mm.
want to play with a load of squig hogs, and like you can't buy a load of squig hogs, so I just kind of feel a bit
Mm.
like I've always been in a weird place with orcs anyway, right? Because I think that there's a lot of units that do the same thing, like, and then it's, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah, I get
the
you.
unit roles have never really like messed around. I quite liked Ghazi, and I was running Ghazi for a bit.
Yeah.
But like, so I've kind of changed my list around. So now I've gone into I haven't gone full Manny, so I haven't taken 1,000 cars, but I do have four Rucker Truck Squig Buggies. But mainly the couple of lists that I
Yeah.
wrote that I was really excited about require me to have a load of knobs on Squigosaurs and a whole bunch of Squig Hogs. I actually don't think it's that competitive a list, but it's the list I want to run.
Yeah. I mean, I actually forgot to mention this. I played an event last weekend
Oh,
with orcs,
with orcs.
and I've got a few takeaways with orcs. I wanted to take something, but was a bit. I wanted to take my Eldar in it originally, but it wasn't painted. And although you could run non-painted models at the time, I wanted to run something that was fully painted. And I took the Stomper,
Right.
and I took the Stomper and friends to this event. And I have to say, The Stomper is even worse in the New Orc book than it was in the old one, and that's despite it being about 300 odd points cheaper. It's really
So you're
bad.
actually at a 40k event with the Stomper.
I was at a 40k event with a Stomper and I went 2-1 with it. Okay,
Hey, not bad, man.
it was all
That's
right.
not. Hey, like,
Not bad.
That's
Not bad.
thumbs.
I'll take you through it. I'll take you through it. So I took the Stomper. I had 3 trucks, so just normal orc trucks. I then had 2 different detachments. So I had a war boss. It was a truck boy. So I had the Killer Claw, and I had a specialist mob rule called Truck Boys, which means you can jump it out after the transport has moved. So you move a transport, you jump your war boss out, and you charge with this damage for Claw Fella.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a unit of 5 Meganobs, so the same thing, and then I had 4 units of 10 boys. 4 units of 10 boys and 1 unit of 27 boys. And then what else do I have? And I had a Death Killer War Trike, which could move 31 inches and charge you if you had the war, because I wanted the war boss to give me the foot war so I could advance and charge. What I then do is I put 2 units of 10 orcs in the Stomper, 1 unit of 10 in the empty truck, and then 1 unit of 10 in the truck with the war boss. And then I just drive around dumping orcs on objectives and taking that Death Guard pseudo secondary that gives you 3 points if you do an action on it with Orc Cores. Yeah. So I just run around there dumping stuff on. And then no one ever touched the Stomper the entire tournament. The closest someone got was in game 2, someone charged it with the Keeper of Secrets and the Stomper turned around and smacked it.
Whoa.
And it was great. So the Stomper is actually really good in melee.
Okay.
But it's hot garbage at shooting, and when you can't move around on boards, the melee doesn't tend to matter that much.
I was thinking about our boards recently. Like, so our boards are, I think, probably at the they're very close to too dense. But I don't think that they're overly dense. But I think they are dense, especially if you compare them to the new Games Workshop boards or even the LGT boards. So like they're definitely different to those. And I quite often am like, tough one for some knights to get through here, I think. And a Stomper.
And then the Stomper's ass is really big.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Like, I can't really show you, but I've got one behind me, and it's about the size of my head in terms of width. And I've got a large head. The problem with it is that the shooting, it's changed a little bit. So you give it a custom job called Mordaka, which basically means that every time you roll a 6 to hit, it gives you another hit. So it's actually slightly better than Mordaka, the stratagem, was last time. Because every time you roll a 5 or a 6, you'd roll another shot. Whereas this is now every time you roll a 6, you get an extra hit.
Yeah.
So it's mathematically slightly better. But losing that Mordaka means that you're now not automatically hitting on 5s all the time. The Stomper doesn't bracket, so it's always BS5, but the moment you shoot through some woods, you're hitting on 6s.
Yeah.
So you've got no way to get around that. Secondly, losing access to Visions in the Smoke, which is the psychic power you used to have that allow you to re-roll to hit with your Stomper, is massive when you're entirely reliant upon quantity of shots to do the damage.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't see how it becomes like really productive at that point. Like it's wild the kind of the variance between orcs, like orc shooting and like marine shooting, right? 3s re-rolling 1s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With quite often sometimes it being 2s re-rolling 1s. Yeah. Versus 5s with no re-rolls. Like the maths is dumb. Like, and it's why I've always pretty much eschewed shooting other than the mech guns, because I think that they're class. Although pretty excited about obviously again, not to bring him up, but Manny did really, really well with a bunch of cars at the weekend.
He did.
So a load of the trucks.
The James Ramsey list.
With loads of shooting from that. So I think that was actually pretty fascinating. Ultimately,
but like it just doesn't. Oh, sorry, you finished your point, man. I'll go on the Stomper. It's fine. Okay. So the Stomper, the problem with it is that it's still got a place. It's not completely useless because it is. I ran it up to Bellicor, slapped him in the face, easy.
Yeah.
Up to a Keeper of Secrets, slap it in the face, easy. The problem with it is that if you're paying 700 points for a model, you don't want to pay for something that's got a place. That's almost half my army. I need it to be the pivot. If I'm buying a big squad of Paladins for my Grey Knights, I'm not buying it for utility to allow something else in my army to function. I'm not buying it as a reserve piece that acts just in case of certain scenarios. That's my main point of my army. And when you're entirely reliant upon the Stomper's melee to be its main output, in board densities like this, you can't guarantee it's going to happen.
I agree. I agree. That's which is why I want to run the squigs, which is why I'm so frustrated at the minute, because I think actually you can do some really fun, interesting plays with the war boss on squigs and even the squig hogs themselves. There's a lot
Yeah.
of output in them. Yeah, it's a lot less of a buy-in points wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot
Oh,
cooler
25
in my
points a model
opinion.
each outlay, mate. You're fucking hell. They're so
Fucking
efficient,
yeah.
man. They're one of the most efficient models in the game.
I know.
Really good.
Like, I'm super hyped to run them around because actually I feel like I'll play orcs and I'll play melee orcs, which
Yeah.
would be badass. And I don't want to do janky get out. I don't want to do the janky get in trucks, get out of truck boys thing. Like, like I feel like it's just a poorly worded clan culture that's just all of a sudden people are like, this is super strong. So I'm not very interested in that. Like, but anyway, so for me, for 40k at the minute, I had my Death Guard. I don't think Death Guard are in a super solid place to play with. So I'd like to put my orcs together, but I actually got to wait for my orcs to come. Basically, is where I'm at. So anyway,
just finally on the context of that event, I played against Dark Angels first round. They had the big Terminator breaks. They had 8 multi-melter bikes, all the characters, the vets that block you from shooting. I then played Be'lakor and Free Keepers of Secrets. I lost that game. That was the one I lost. And then I played against Blood Angels with Sanguinary Guard and 3 Redempted Reds, and it was. So it wasn't like the easiest list to play against, but at the same time, it wasn't like I was hitting Admech, Drakari, Sisters, Orcs for the 4 games. So it was fine.
It was a softer event, but like it's still like
it wasn't the softest, but it was softer. Round 1 I had to. My opponent was lovely, but he'd forgotten about Rule of Threes, and he'd had 4 units of 2 attack bikes and multi-melters, and I was just like, dude, you need to make them 3 units, brother.
You need to chill.
So we fixed it. It was fine, but it was just like,
All right,
that gives the state of the event.
Yeah. Listen, like I still think there's a lot of people who haven't been playing much with lockdown occurring, right?
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
So I think the LGT is going to be fascinating because I think there's going to be a lot of people's first, maybe even event, let alone major, right? So I think I think you're going to see some interesting matchups. Anyway, okay, good. And you got an event this weekend. We'll talk about that in a little moment.
Yeah.
We've got I think I saw James Ramsey in the chat saying that he's excited about coming to Captain's Clash next week, which I'm excited about as well.
James Wilson, I think. James Ramsey's on the Isle of Man. That's a bit of a push.
Yeah, different one. James Wilson. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for him to come. Are you taking orcs this weekend? No, you're not. So we'll talk about that in a moment. Before we do, we'll just quickly talk about. I guess it's definitely more 40k than it is Age of Sigmar news. The Plus was released yesterday, so I just thought I'd get your thoughts on it, Tom. The Plus, and I guess how it affects 40k, because for some people it is relevant to 40k, right? Because it affects the app. You now, in order to unlock the premium features of the 40k app, you need to subscribe to the Plus. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you decided to do that?
So I haven't been subscribing to the premium for the app because that is pretty much allowing you to access all the old books from 8th edition, right? And we all know that the only relevant books in 9th edition are the 9th edition ones, with the exception of Necrons, which still aren't relevant. So we can all ignore that. Although I did come across an interesting Necron list the other day, which I'll talk about later on. Okay. So I'm not paying for premium on 40k app anyway. I don't really care. But that said, I probably will be getting Warhammer Plus. Mainly because I like the model. I like the Vindicator Assassin model. I might as well get access to the TV shows as well, because if I'm paying £10 a month to continuously play for Netflix that my ex-girlfriend uses because I don't have the heart to kick her off it yet, I can afford £5 a month to buy Warhammer Plus, to be honest.
Hey,
so
you need to. What you need to do is you need to wait till she's like halfway through a season, something that's really good.
I'm not going to do
and
that,
then kick her off. Yeah, wait till she's like.
I feel bad now. I feel bad. I already feel bad. So I'm just like, you know what? I mean, I'm paying for it anyway. I've been watching The Witcher. It's all right. Shit's all over some law, but it's fine. I watched Sunderland Till I Die. That was kind of fun. And now I can watch films if I absolutely need to. Also, apparently, I need to watch some Danish thing, but whatever. I'm not gonna. There's no benefit to me kicking her off. She could stay. It's lockdown. She's having a shit time. It's fine. She can watch for Netflix.
All right. Well, look at you. It's very good of you. It's very good of you. Grimslacker in the chat thinks you need to nut up. It's Tom selling out and paying for the app. So I paid for the app. Well, no, I haven't actually paid for the app. I used someone else's. Hold on. I used someone else's login details.
I'm watching you live as well.
So fucking funny. But no, yeah, I haven't. I haven't used that actually paid for the app yet. But like because the two apps are available or will be available, and they're not functional, obviously. I will be paying for it, and obviously it's my job as well, guys. Like, let's be fucking serious for a moment. Like, my job is to consume Warhammer content and also other stuff. So, kind of being on the front lines with you guys is part of the service. Like, I think ultimately, like, irregardless of the actual content, battle report and the masterclass, the animations like are great, and masterclass is great, and then the apps like hopefully will be worthwhile one day in the future, or they won't. I don't fucking know, man. Like, honestly,
I mean,
the worst bit about it was how difficult it is to sign into it all.
I've been watching this great.
Twitter has been fucking awful. Go on.
Oh yeah, mate, it's fucking horrific. But I wanna get it, but I'm gonna wait until people can actually get in, because I'm painting my entire army for this weekend, and I cannot be asked to deal with getting into Warhammer Plus at the same time. I just can't do it. I just can't bring myself to do that shit show. Not to mention that guy on Twitter from earlier who, for some reason, got access to editing the FAQs page.
Yeah, the guy on Twitter. That's the best bit. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, there was a guy today who logged in to the Warhammer community site, but accidentally became like an admin of the site, the Warhammer community site, and he tweeted them. He's like, by the way, I don't want to be here. Please don't.
To be honest, mate, that's the closest thing you're getting to an Age of Sigmar release for the next couple of months. You might as well take
hey,
it.
man. Yes, meatballs. Listen. You can also subscribe because the painter presenter's hot, but like we don't need to talk any more about that.
You should also do that for here as well.
You should also do that for the Honest Wargamer because we're hot.
But to be like, okay, so continuing on that, you know, I'm a competitive dude, right? You know I'm about that, but at the same time, I'm actually kind of enjoying. I'm hating the painting I'm doing, but if I'm just painting one model, I'm proper into it. I can see myself getting to the age of like 30 or 40, like 35, 40. 30 is probably a bit young.
Yeah.
And going, you know what? I'm done with this competitive 40k stuff, and I'm going to become a competitive Warhammer painter, and I'm going to learn how to do it.
Don't do it. That's so serious.
I like the way Louise thinks about painting as well, because you see what she does on Twitter, and it's mentally. It's like no one else has done this. She has not learned this from a tutorial. That's just entirely in her head. And she just decided that this is what she's going to do and pulls it off. And I'm just like, okay, well, that's something I can learn from that, because there's nowhere else I'm going to learn that kind of stuff, is there? It's insane.
Well, I mean, they're great painting tutorials everywhere, man. Like, they really, really are. Like,
yeah, sure.
Like, they really are. Like, they're all over. The battle report, never watching that. Not in 1,000 years.
I mean,
watched 2 minutes of it. But like,
I'm not a battle report person anyway, really. So
it's not really relevant to our things I'm interested in. I think ultimately the thing I'm very excited about is the animations. The animations are rad.
Oh yeah.
I mean, literally an hour's worth of animations feels like a big push for a whole month subscription. I guess. I don't know, man. Like whatever. Like, it's exclusive stuff, right? Because it's Warhammer animations.
Yeah.
Those are things that I really interested in. It's like Wheel of Time. If Wheel of Time was like Wheel of Time is a paid subscription service that's £10 a month, I'd be like, well, I guess I'm fucking getting it because I want to watch it. You know. So that's a.
Who's in charge of the Honest Wargamer bingo card? Because we need to get Wheel of Time added to
it. Hey man, get ready for Wheel Watch coming soon from the Honest Wargamer. It's gonna be really good. Not going to the people who make product for a review of the product, says Scott B. I mean, obviously Scott B. Yeah, we all agree. Yeah. I always threw up in the intro to the battle reports.
I mean, the intro was about 20 minutes.
It was so
not
long.
Entirely surprising that you get it. You get ill, and you know, I've got COVID, recovered from COVID in the time it takes him to finish the intro.
See, what can I just do a thought on this really quickly, and then we'll move on because I don't want to do it anymore. Is
it's fine.
The interesting thing was about so the intro for the battle report, right, was like detailing the miniatures in the universe that they were in, which like I'm vibing on, right? They're like this. He's got this gun. He does this thing, and you're like, fuck yeah, okay. But then when the rest of the battle report in no way cuts to that kind of like, you know, if you almost kind of made it like a stop motion animation, Tom, you know, like you know, you're almost like
Wallace and Gromit style.
Kind of. Well, almost. I mean, that's a bit too much. But like, what I mean is like if you were like, look, it's all about the narrative of these minis, and then you like cut to these scenes and these these cinematic shots of the minis, and then you're like fires heavy bolter, explosive shells, blah blah blah. But then the other half of it, well, the rest of it is just about the presenters just like being friendship simulator and having a good time, and so that's weird. That's what I'm going to say. But anyway, I thought the intro seemed like a sales pitch model showcase. Yeah, but like that's okay because the thing that they're selling is pretty cool, right? When they're like, these are these intercessors that do this thing, you're like, fuck yeah, like that's pretty rad. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it, so I'm just going off what the people have
And
told
I'm
me.
not gonna.
I mean,
So
I'll get it at some point.
right,
So.
yeah. Anyway, but the animations are worth it. Like I would say, worth it is the animations are cool. And they're great, and I probably already want to re-watch the Yarrick one. So, anyway. It was like watching French people trying to make anime, stylish static shots, absolutely no other content. Do you think...
I don't even want to know what French anime is. Well
Me either, but I'm into it. Let's put it that way. So that's the other news. We're still pretty unsure about the release schedule for some, even though we've got the roadmap for some other stuff. But we are off the back of both the Thousand Suns release, and also we're off the back of the Grey Knights release. But
yes,
yeah, and I know the roadmap's a pretty funny statement, but like we're off the back of those, and they're pretty competent not battle tomes. Sorry, they're pretty competent codexes, which is nice. And so
yeah. I mean, I've already got an idea of kind of what I want to have a look at for Grey Knights when I actually build the list. Like I've got enough Grey Knight bodies there that I can build pretty much whatever I want. I've got a Hexfire on top of the cabinet as well, so I can get 4 Nemesis Dread Knights, so I can get a HQ and 3 mini ones. So I'm going to have a proper look at that. I just haven't had the time to right now because I'm painting this army for the Hellstorm event this weekend. I then need to do my AOS army so I can actually play both the games I play. And then we'll get on Grey Knights afterwards, I think.
The future. So you're at an event this weekend. Let's talk about that. That's what we're going to talk about today. So you're at a 40k event, which is Hellstorm Wargaming, guys.
Yes.
Which Nick and John attended last time. I don't know if John's there again. I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. No.
But
but some of his mates are.
Yeah, but you're going, right?
Yes. So this is my first one. It's my first 2-day event actually since lockdown, so I'm actually worried about my physical well-being because it is going to be a long event. It's 6 games. I am not in very good condition physically. Normally I kind of go to the gym a lot more than I have been over the last couple of months, but because of his painting stuff, it's been a bit of a trek, and I haven't really been able to bring myself to do it, especially after like the year that we've had where I've been working. I had to stop going in the evenings because I normally go late at night just because I was so tired. And then we got into summer, that was the case of just getting rested. Then we got into painting for events, and now we're here. So
yeah.
I am not in great condition, but we'll have to see. We've got the chess clocks ready, so hopefully I don't have to, stand around for too long. But I'm looking forward to it. It should be okay.
So you're taking some chess clocks with you?
I've got one behind me actually.
Is that for you, or is that for like you think other players may play slow?
I don't think other players may slow, but it does give me something, right? Where first of all, it's easy. It's pretty much mandatory WTC anyway. Chess clocks. Because that way, you can monitor the time. And also, it's every event that I go to is pretty much practice for that. So ideally, I want to use it every game. Just because if I'm treating other games as practice for this other event that uses chess clocks, I need to be practicing for it by using the chess clock.
Yeah.
Right. At the same time, I don't want to enforce it on anyone who doesn't want a chess clock. But then it's also a balancing act, because if someone doesn't want a chess clock, well, why don't they want a chess clock? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interestingly, I'm gonna make chess clocks mandatory in the arena for our local tournaments. And they're only one.
Stop Walk Mildman cheating again.
No, I think actually the best thing it does is it makes the players understand their time commitment. Because like there's loads of studies, right? Like some days you think your day's going fast, some things your day's going slow. Like it's not meant to be like this is a pro setting, this is what it like. It's none of that. It's honestly like how much time do you realistically think that you're spending versus your opponent? And I think,
Yeah.
some players will be surprised, and I think it's going to be hard pushed for them to like kind of argue with themselves when they see the clock and they
Mm.
see what the result is, right? And
Yeah.
I personally
I mean,
think that that's good.
100%. I went to on last Sunday. I actually went to Homefirth for their last of the summer wine 40k tournament.
Mm.
Um, just because I wanted to go see some mates, and also one of my mates managed to pick me up. Hold up, I'll get it.
Ooh, ooh, I'm
Look
excited.
at these. Look at these bad boys. These
Oh yeah.
are the Grey Knight dice.
Oh nice.
I wasn't able to get any, but my mate came across them and said, "Hey, do you want some Grey Knight dice?" I was like, "Yeah, man, I want some Grey Knight dice." So I had to go pick them up from him because he was at this event in Homefirth, which isn't a million miles from me. It's about an hour.
Yeah.
And in the last round, he was playing Tibble 2, and he was playing against the guy who had his chess clock out. And I was watching him with the chess clock, and it was just ticking down in his time. And like my friend's was at 1 minute 30,
Yeah.
1 hour 30 even, and his was just ticking down. And I'm just like, so I take straight to Wasp, like, mate, he's forgotten his clock. He's not even beating it when you have to take your saves and what have you. And it's like, nah, mate, he just wants to see how long his turns take. And I was like, I never even thought about that because when I see chess clock, I instantly go into right. It's your turn to do something. Bang, mode.
Right. Okay.
Right. I'm on the chess clock. Like
Yeah. You.
every time an action happens, you got to remove models. It's on your time. You got to roll dice. It's on your time.
Okay.
And I expect my opponent to do that for me. And I'm just like, I just went into instant try hard mode. And so I want to be a little bit careful this event that I don't ruin anyone's experience with a chess clock. But at the same time, I want to practice and I want to get it out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
We'll
it's
have to see
honest.
how
I
it
think
goes.
it's honestly like so. What we've run like 6 events, maybe 8 events now at the arena, like over the past like few months, which is quite a few. Thank you to Dydrin for donating a gift subscription to Botez Live.
Ooh,
Big shout out to
big fan.
Botez.
Big fan.
Big fan of the Botez. So appreciate you.
Do they not have an underscore in their name? It might be worth another gift sub, my dude.
I don't know who that is.
See, Andrea and Alexandra Botez for chess players.
Oh, nice. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
yeah,
sisters.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Big chess stands over on the Honest Wargamer. We got
Big
this.
chess.
Um,
I'm gonna go play him in street chess in New York at some point and smash him.
you know it. Let's do it.
I will.
Adrian's just annoyed by himself.
Thing is, I believe it as well. Like, I fully believe it. Like,
Um, yeah. So no, I honestly think now that chess clocks are the right way to play. And so I understand where you're at with like the try hard methodology, but I think
yeah,
honestly at an event or even maybe locally with your like it's really good and healthy to do so, and so it's going to be something I
yeah.
also do in the future as well. So Tom, you're like, don't worry about it. I think it's the right
Oh
decision.
no, it's fine.
But
I
this
just,
is me having learned. This was me being really against the idea, and now I'm completely turned around to it.
yeah, I think it's just me being a little bit. I've had a bit of introspection over the last couple of weeks because we had obviously Warhammer World dropped their event schedule, didn't they?
Yeah.
We haven't spoken about that yet, and they had the GW 40k GT on the same weekend as VLGT
Yes.
for that. And so it got me thinking about which event would I want to go to in my hypothetical situation? Because
Okay.
obviously I'm at London GC with you guys,
Yep.
but I was thinking about it. It's like, well, why wouldn't I want to go to the Games Workshop one? It's more local. It actually saves me money on price because of tickets.
Yeah.
And it's easier. I'm like thinking, well, the reason why I wouldn't want to go, the one reason why I wouldn't want to go to that is because I might have to play certain people.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm afraid of playing certain people. You know what I'm like. I literally go out and find the best players that I can and play them. But I know that certain players are allowed to go to those events who are banned at other events.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
believe anyway.
And also,
And so I'm like, well,
go on.
that becomes more of a case of, well, I want to go and have fun in my games.
Yeah.
And equally, other people will enjoy their games more without being on the chess clock because it makes them feel under pressure and it makes it feel a bit more intense and what have you. It's like, so I'm in this mode of thinking, how can I make my opponents enjoy their games more?
Right. While also using a chess
So,
clock.
while also getting the experience that I'm looking for as well. And I had this conversation at my local club as well because the tournament I went to last weekend was at my old local club, and I don't go there anymore. And the reason why isn't because I've fallen out with anyone, although I did do that in 2013. The reason why I don't go is because I know I want to play a certain way in my 40k games. I want to take some busted list and practice against someone. But it's my local club. It's not going to. The demographic isn't complete ass beaters who want to take broken lists.
Yeah.
And so if I go with my broken lists, I play some of my broken lists, I win a game. My ego doesn't get boosted at all. No, meaningless game, right?
Yeah.
Like I haven't had fun or learned anything. They haven't had fun or learned anything. It was completely valueless, right? So when I'm now thinking every time I come up to a table, how can I enjoy it and get value out of this, and how can they enjoy it as much as possible, right? Because that's what we're here to do.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I do think chess clocks is like are going to be a positive way of being able to reinforce that. I do also think that Warhammer World events, having been to loads of independent events and been to lots of Warhammer World events, is just full of a very different type of hobbyist. Like people who generally don't tend to go to tournaments all the time, and then a bunch of sharks who do go to tournaments and they want that like accolade of having been to Warhammer World and been to their event. And their big 40k event, and ultimately, like all of the pros in brackets, if you will, are going to be at the LGT. Yeah, so it will just be like a SEAL club in adventure where you'll just be kicking the fuck out of like a bunch of lads who don't really know what's going on, which is fine. And if anything, like that's the place to go, right? There's the ego center. Just get there. But I don't think a clock hurts newer players because I think everyone should just chill, basically. Like, it's meant to help everyone. How does a person get banned from events and not from Warhammer World events? Because they don't want to stop people buying miniatures, right? Basically. So
I think in this specific example, the player made a big appeal saying they'd change your ways. And when I saw them at Blood and Glory a couple of weeks later after they'd promised to change their ways, and he spoke to me personally and denied everything. Yeah, bro. Okay.
Don't worry about
you cheated personally. You cheated personally against me in a game and cost me 3 figures worth of money by doing so, but okay, bro.
Yeah. There you
Whatever.
go. Don't worry about it. But basically, yeah, like, and also Warhammer World, like, I'm sure they've tried really hard, and maybe they've got terrain like their tours, but it's probably the worst place that I've played Warhammer still to this date.
I like it. I like it. For me, I'm a fan.
I don't not like it.
I don't
not like it, but it's still the worst place I've played.
Oh no, it's fine. But to each their own. Like I'm alright with it.
It's mainly the tables are too low, Tom.
Oh, that is true. Yeah,
right.
They are indeed.
And they don't have realm. Like what I'm saying is, they might be better now because they'll have realm. They won't have realm or battle boards anymore, which is great. And hopefully they've done their terrain up and their terrain matches. How weird would it be if they have a Warhammer World event, but their terrain isn't the same as the Games Workshop American Tour terrain?
It's got to be, surely, doesn't it?
It's got to be, surely. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it will.
To be fair, the US Open terrain that they actually put out, I don't think completely matched the actual map either. Because if you look at what they actually had, they had the perspex, right?
Yep.
And then they had like one side of the square, and they just pulled it inside and said, "Yes, this entire thing counts as that now."
Yeah, it was pretty.
And I'm just like, you just didn't have enough terrain, did you? You just didn't have enough terrain.
They just didn't have. But it would be weird. Terrain was always an issue there as well, and I think obviously in this edition it's so important to have really good terrain.
Oh,
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. There might still be table service. Anyway, so you're going to an event this weekend. It's at Sanctuary War Games, which is in Mansfield.
It is,
which is an amazing place. If you've never been to Mansfield, like I say, and I say this about Mansfield all the time. There's a place. There's a place you can stand where you can see 3 Gregs at once.
Sanctuary is an amazing place. Mansfield is less of an amazing place.
If I can stand somewhere and see 3 Gregs 3 times, I know I'm in the right place for me. Yeah.
You'd love Sheffield, mate. We've got a road called the Mall, which has this. And it's downhill. So you just like roll all the way down the hill eating the Gregs. It's great.
Anyway, so you're going to an event. How many people are at the event?
Good question. I can actually get the numbers now because I have BCP up. But I think it's like, it's max capacity. So I'll scroll all the way down. It'll tell me, boom, 48.
Okay.
48 people event. So main people are going. I'm there. Nick Council's there from Team Wales as well. Manny's back again. Matt Robertson's there. Obviously, he also won the
wow, after the drama last time.
Team England as well. Oh, he wants to win it now, mate. He's not fucking around.
Oh.
He wants to win it.
Is he just going to 100-0 every round? Interested?
Not every round,
okay.
But he'll do all right, I'm sure. Who else is there? Oh, I also discovered that you could put emojis in your clubs on BCP. So every event I go to, I just put a different club in,
Okay.
just to fuck with it.
Well, we
So I'm
need to
now the
start.
ble-
Okay, we're going to start the Honest Wargamer
Oh,
Club
we can do
soon.
that.
We're going to start it soon.
That implies that I'm taking this seriously.
Yeah, no,
Not
but
this podcast. I mean the ITC. So I'm now the bless up party bus emoji on BCP, which that should be fun.
hey,
We're all right for
Tuggy,
that.
thanks for subscribing in the chat. I hope you're well, man.
Hey, there you
Loads
go.
of love.
There we go. So yeah, that's that 48 player event. I'm taking Eldari,
Mhm.
which baited some people because they all saw that and they thought, oh, it's going to be Eldar of Harlequins. It's not Eldar of Harlequins. So I can go through the list
I
actually
would like to,
directly
but
for you.
just before you go through the list, quick question. Stabgrot Plus has asked in the chat. Tom, is there any chance you can, just mainly for the Twitch numbers, is there any chance you could pull a Manny for us at this event? Can you like do a Manny? Just do something outrageous so we've got like a full Spice Center exclusive next week. Any thoughts on doing that or not keen?
So I can't submarine because you know, we've changed the pack now. But the height of the tables does reach exactly my midriff. So I could always use a third leg to nudge a model. That could be cool.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Do that. Do that. Or maybe I don't know what else you could do.
Get myself so excited that I accidentally shove my night spinner 6 inches forwards.
Just randomly move terrain each round. I don't know.
You weren't there for the flying carpet meta of 40k, mate. You want to stay way away from triggering those memories.
I do want to stay away from all of those things. But anyway, yeah. So what's in your list?
So I've started with a Drakari patrol.
Okay.
And the reason why I've done that is because I can get the Relic and Warlord trait for free on my Succubus.
Right. Okay.
So I'm running Cult of Strife. Then the Succubus has Adrenalite for the extra attack. And then it's got Precision Blows and Triptych Whip. So that means every time I roll a 6 to wound, I do mortal wounds instead of the damage.
Yep.
Right? So I'll do 3 mortal wounds every single time I do that. And that's like 60-point blunderbuss worth of pure horrificness.
Okay.
I then got 1 squad of 5 witches to unlock the patrol. And then I've got 2 squads of 10 Hellions. And I'll explain what they're for later. We then have some Craft World detachments, and that means I lose power from Pain and Over Drakari. So I don't get the 6-spin honorable save, I don't get the +1 to hit, and I don't get the advance and charge. But there's a reason for that.
Okay.
I don't really care about any of those things. The 6-spin honorable save maybe is an exception. So in the first attachment, I have a Farseer that's on foot with Executioner, Doom, and then it's just got Witchblade, Doom, and then we've got a Warlock. Exactly. I don't know. It seems pretty good.
Good.
We've then got the Warlock with Protect Jinx, because it's just such a good power. It's similar to Doom. And then we've got Focus Will, which is +2 to cast on a cycle of my choice, because the Smite is on Warlock is useless anyway, and if I don't want to cast Protect Jinx, I can always consistently get the Farseer powers off. And then in that attachment, I have 2 squads of 3 support weapons. So those are the Eldar little platforms.
Okay.
The little platforms. And they work in a similar way to Armigers. So when you put them on the board, they all split up and become individual units. They're also my most expensive 2 units in my army. So they count for my to the last / while we stand, while we fight.
Okay.
So you have to hunt all of them down. And then we have 3 squads of 3 Dart Reapers with Tempest launchers. And then they have long-ranged fire, which increases the range of their guns by 6 inches when the Exarch is still alive. Then
am I right in thinking that they're 48 inches base?
They're 36.
36.
The main guns are 48.
Ah, yes.
But the ignore line of sight one is 36.
Yeah.
The other option for that is you can re-roll the number of shots. But if I'm rolling 3 of them, let's say 3 of these units, let's say on average I roll above average with 1, average with another, and below average with another one, right? I'm only re-rolling 1 of 3 of them anyway. So I'm only getting 1 in 3 value out of that. Whereas this, it gives me the ability to push up further up the board. So often with Eldar, you're looking to chase the game when you've broken the back of the enemy army. Yeah. So you end up just pushing 6 inches, shooting something random, fire and fading up the board with Dart Reapers. With this, I don't need to do that.
Okay.
And especially when I'm building around hitting people at long range with ignore line of sight weaponry, with the Night Spinners that are going to come in a second, it works much better. We've then got the next attachment, which is, we've got a Wave Serpent in mirror as well, just to keep the Dart Reapers safe for go second. And then we've got the next attachment, which is an Autarch with Swooping Hawk Wings, just because I had 10 points spare, and he can fly around, and it's great. and 3 Night Spinners. I mean, all the craft worlds are Expert Crafter's Masterful Shots, which means every time I fire, I get to reroll 1 to hit and 1 to wound roll, and I ignore cover.
Okay.
So essentially, turn 1, I'm sat there
Mhm.
with 3 Tempest launches, 3 Night Spinners that are shooting you no matter where you are. If you want to push into me, that's great. You're now going to get 6 D3, Strength 12, AP -4 damage, D6 guns firing at you, each one of which fires D3 shots individually and rerolls 1 to hit into wound roll, which is great.
Great.
To push even further, I've got 20 Hellions.
Which are going to come and kick ass.
Exactly. I don't need to like push the Hellions up. I don't care about the advance and charge because I don't need to run into the backfield and clear stuff. I just need to be able to sit here, and if you push into me, I just go bang and push you away.
Okay.
It's not a problem. Yeah, so that's pretty much how it works. It's very hard to push into. If you can push into it turn 1, let's say you're a Raven Guards and Ultramarines army. If you can go first, clear away a lot of the more valuable stuff, maybe you've got a shot. Or if you can tank it and ignore the Night Spinners,
What's the profile on the
maybe you've
Night
got a shot
Spinners?
too. Strength 7, AP dash, damage 1, damage 2.
Yeah.
But every time I roll a 6 to wound, it's AP minus
And how many
3.
have you got? Did you say? And how many shots are they?
3. 2d6.
Oh wow, 2d6 per one.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've got
Rerolling ones to hit with the Autark and then rerolling one of the 2s as well, Expert
so
Crafters.
66.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. That's
pretty good.
really interesting.
Oh,
So
it's AP -4 on a 6.
yeah, so like
sure.
the current like threats out there, obviously Admech, Drukari, and even Sisters. How do you feel like
Orcs as well.
and Orcs? Is Orcs allowed at this?
Orcs aren't being used at the event. No, it's not being used at the event. I forgot about that.
So
Sorry.
how do you feel about playing into those?
Admech, I beat if I go first.
Okay.
Every time, I think. So I've got the way it works. I've got 6 command points.
Yeah.
So that's 3 phantasms. So I can phantasm all of my D-cannon, and I can phantasm my wave serpent, and that's 7
Just
units.
remind us
that
what
I've moved.
that means.
So that means I can redeploy all of my units, and it's after the start of the first battle round, but before first turn begins. So it's basically a redeploy. So I take all my D-cannon, slap them on the line, and then move them forward 6 inches. So unless you're hugging the very back, I'm going to kill all your planes. If you're not taking planes, then I can just clear a lot of the stuff anyway because I've got a lot of hits. And if you walk into the center, I'm gonna hit you very hard.
Okay.
With the Sisters, I don't know, and I think that's why I'm probably not going to win this event because Matt Robertson's there and he's got a very good Sisters army. He's actually on a 29 game win streak.
Yeah, I heard this. This is crazy. Like, what the fuck? And, like, at real life tournaments and events, right?
I think he's won 3 events on the bounce. Is it 3 weekends on the bounce? Something like that.
Crazy.
Anyway, he's smashing it. Yeah, he's really bossing it at the minute. So I suspect he thinks that my list is strong into his, but I don't know his list well enough. So if it comes down to a degree of skill between me and him, he's going to win because he knows what my army does way more than I know what his army does. So ideally, I want to hit that day 2. Unfortunately, I can't submarine it, so we'll have to just hit him.
If anything, that's what the event is there for now, is to do a classic submarine, Tom.
I know.
Yeah.
Stop that. Well, we're not allowed to anymore. Change the rules pack.
So Sisters you think you're unsure of. You're comfortable with Admech, which is a pretty bold statement. And how do you feel about Drukari?
How do I feel about Drukari? It depends. Manny's running Drukari, and he's got 7 boats.
Ooh.
I think unless I'm on a WTC board, it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
If I go first, I can murder 4 or 5 Venom Raiders. Turn 1.
Yeah, so you've got go on after you.
Oh no, sorry. If he goes first, he kills at least 2 Night Spinners because of the boards. And then at that point, I don't really have the ability to push onto him, and then he just needs to run at me, and then it becomes a trading game. I think it's worse for him if I go first than it is for me if he goes first. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
So if it's something else, if it's less Raiders, We'll have to see, but I'll probably be okay.
So
If it's WTC board, I think I'm fine. I don't think
and
you can touch
what
me.
Tom's referencing there is this Hellstorm event has specifically got like WTC style boards and Games Workshop style boards, and also I
Oh
think
yes, of course.
LGT
Yeah.
style boards.
It's got 4 different types. So it's got Game Mat EU types, which is basically old ITC. It's got LGT, it's got GW, and it's got
Yeah,
WTC.
so it's,
So every fourth board is different.
yeah, not sure how I feel about that, but fine.
We'll find out how I feel about it after this
Yeah,
weekend
we'll hear
anyway, I
about that
think.
next week.
I'm a little skeptical, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I'm excited to hear about that next week. I really, really am. A question: what if there's an army that's a curveball? I remember going to an event, obviously, and taking a bunch of Harlequin bikes when knights were dominant and they were like 40% of the field, and somehow I played no fucking knights for an entire tournament, which was pretty triggering. Um, uh, Pretty wild. Is there anything that's wild card out there that you think you're going to maybe struggle against?
Oh, Deathwatch. I think if I hit Nick Cancel's Deathwatch, I die immediately. I've got a big problem because I really don't want to hit Dreadnoughts because a lot of this army is based around damage 2.
Okay.
Specifically the Night Spinners. If you can sit there and tank damage 2 and just shoot me as I come across the board, I've got a problem because the things I have for killing vehicles are very short ranged. So that's just the D cannon.
Yeah.
And they're 24-inch range. So unless I can push up the board by shepherding the D cannons up the board with the Hellions, then that's the only way. So I have to clear up the stuff that would be threatening to the D cannon. I then have to use the Hellions to shepherd these stupid fucking platforms up the board, and then try and hit them in the back corner. That's the only way I can deal with that, I think. And even then, because it's Deathwatch, it causes you issues as Eldar anyway. So I'll have to see.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Not Ultramarines. Not too worried about Ultramarines.
Ultramarines, if they're with Raven Guard, I think it caused me a problem. If they go full on Dread aggro, I think that caused me a problem too. But without the Raven Guard, I think it's a little bit easier because you can only deploy a maximum of 3 units in my face with the Invicta Warsuits.
What if you play?
You can't go full.
What if you played Loki in the chat and he had 3 Bloodthirsters and an Exalted Bloodthirster? Comfortable with that?
I think.
How dare you? How dare you? Loki refuses to quit with that list, and
they don't move that fast. They can't warp time, and they have to make it through all my D cannon and Hellions first before they get to the juicy shit. It's too bad.
Hey, well, I'm really excited to hear about how this goes next week. So next week we'll be back.
Yeah, it should be fun.
We'll be back to listen to how Tom's experiences of a 2-dayer. Have you? I know you said you like we talked about it a little bit, but have you done your prep for 2 days? I mean, it's a lot of. Have you got some water? Have you got some ibuprofen and some paracetamol? All like.
I don't do the ibuprofen, mate. I've never taken anything at a tournament for like my headaches or what have you. I just turn up and I roll, mate. That's all I do. So I'm ready. I've got my bag packed. I just need to get this army finished painting, and then we should be good to go. We'll find out how this does. I've not practiced it at all. I've got a couple of I had a couple of games lined up, but they've fallen through, unfortunately. So we're going to be taking it raw for the first time tomorrow against Dick, and then we'll see how it goes at the weekend. Should be a good laugh anyway, and I'll let you know how it goes.
All right. Well, you'll let the chat know as well, because I'm sure they're all rooting for you, which is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So please do let us know. And I think that's it for today. We've got Tom still got to get on with his painting, which is like pressuring him a lot. So unless anyone's got any questions, that's us for today's show, which is going to be good. Cheat in the event, please, so you'll DQ and come to AOS permanently. This time, got plus.
I think James Powell would hate that.
Or he would love it. I'm not quite sure. I think he would be comfortable with that if you were over. He'd love it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, do you think 3 Fire Prisms have a place in the Eldar lists, Tom?
Yeah. 3 Fire Prisms. I was using 3 Fire Prisms. I think they're suboptimal compared to Night Spinners, but they are serviceable. If you have 3 Fire Prisms, you can do a very similar concept. You can get around a lot of the line of sight issues with linked fire, but that also means that you can't really spend your CP as much on Phantasms, and it means you can't really spend it as much on the Cult of Strife stuff. And they're slightly more expensive. So it's less optimal, but you can do it if you want to go that route.
How do you feel about Ligma in the Eldar list?
I'm not a fan of Ligma. I prefer Sugma. That's much better.
You didn't fall for it. Good, that's fine. Does the ridiculously small FAQ on Book of Fire count for TSN events? Yes, it does, Lukey. It does.
I
And then
read it.
Stabgrot Plus asks Tom, how do you feel about Bofa?
Both of these nuts in your mouth.
Perfect.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it, to be honest, mate.
Good. All right. Well, listen, it's been lovely talking to you, Tom. Really looking forward to hear about how these games go next week. Make
Yeah,
sure you
man.
take plenty of photos for us so we can show them on.
Hell yeah, brother. I'm gonna try and live tweet it, but I'll do that on my own chess clock time.
Do that on your own chess clock time.
Unless I get really desperate, but I'll just try and waste my opponent's time on their clock.
That's going to be really fun. All right. Hey, chat, it's been cool talking to you. Thanks very much. We'll see you guys for some 40K next week. It's been lovely talking to Tom.
Yeah, hopefully we can see what's going on next week. Maybe we can get something interesting there. We'll see.
You guys look after yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye.